Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Tabletop Game Talk, a show where we talk about tabletop games of all types. I'm one of your hosts, Josh.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Kitty.
Today we'll be talking about Codex, and we'll be doing that with the designer of the game, David Serlin. But first, we'll go off topic, starting with some news, announcements, and feedback.
Thanks, Josh. If this is your first time at this show, welcome. If you've been listening before, welcome back. First, we'd like to thank our patron friend of the show, Emil Jilcham. He's auto-entered in all of our contests. He's one of our highest supporters, and we appreciate him dearly. I think we got a thank you from his wife on Facebook today.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
So sweet.
So thank you too. If you're interested in supporting us via Patreon, please visit our website, tabletopgametalk.com/Patreon, or you can just click the Patreon button. All of our Patreon levels give you free auto entry into all our contests with bonus entries. We currently don't have a contest running. We just picked our winner last week.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a new one in probably a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Let's see. We have a number of announcements. If you haven't noticed, we did a YouTube recording of our show last week.
Very first one.
Yep. I worked okay. Afterwards, I realized that the audio is not coming from my handy-dandy recorder. It is just coming from the iPhone audio, which actually didn't sound too bad because I didn't even notice, but that was the reason why the music didn't come through.
Right.
This episode, we're also recording, but the video that we recorded was already done, so you're going to see a little bit of segue.
The interview we recorded?
The interview that we recorded with David has already been recorded, so you're not going to see it live in the YouTube video. You will kind of probably feel like it's live here, but we like giving you peeks behind the curtain. So, but yeah, we will fix the audio. I'm still working on making that work so you can actually hear the music and hear us through the recorder as opposed to just through the iTunes or the iPhone. I'm also looking at other cameras. Kitty and I tried to do an unboxing yesterday.
Chris, do you want to tell everyone what happened?
Yeah, so I got Gloomhaven, which the box came, it was 22.5 pounds.
I think it's heavy.
Yeah, I weighed it. And before we even opened the Amazon box, I texted Kitty, I'm like, you gotta come down, we're gonna do an unboxing video. I got this new camera, we're just gonna open it and see what's in it. And we did. Put the camera up, set it up on the tripod, pointed it at us, made sure all the framing was good, hit the record button, and we just started unboxing things. Kitty was dodging my knife and pulling out.
I almost got stabbed.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that part of the story yet.
No, he didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Very
He
conveniently.
used a steak knife to open this box. And
he was doing it very extravagantly.
Well, I mean, look at that. We're in a small camera shot here.
Right.
Like, we were sitting at this table quite close to each other. I had to duck a couple times. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
chill out, dude.
there's no evidence of it because what I thought I hit record, I actually did not hit record.
So it's not going to hold up in the cold law, is what you're saying.
We spent about 35-40 minutes on this
Talking out the
unboxing.
window.
And I go over to hit stop on the camera and it starts recording after I hit stop. And I'm just like, oh. So now I know how to use the camera and I know how to check to see if it's actually recording or not. But the unboxing failed.
Never mind.
It is a great game and we will find other reasons to put it on video, I promise. So I'll put that as a new game I got. Let's see. Interviews. So you may have seen I snuck in an interview on Saturday morning it dropped. This was an interview with Andrew Parks, and I was talking to him about a new game of his called Dungeon Alliance on Kickstarter. And I wanted to get that in before the podcast because he's in the middle of the Kickstarter and try to get as much word out there as possible. This game looks really cool. If you haven't listened to the interview yet, you should. It's even if you're not interested in the game, there's a lot of design ideas and philosophies behind it. Just kind of like a peek behind the scenes of how a game gets created. So it was a really good interview. I really enjoyed doing it, and I think I'm going to do more of those. So they will be not more than once a week. They will be completely extra. The patrons, they pay for each episode we drop, but they'll only ever have to pay for the main episode shows. None of the bonus stuff would ever be charged for that. But so but I do want to do like maybe an episode a week, maybe 2 or 3 a month, something along those lines. They'll be clearly marked as Tabletop Game Talk interviews and tell you who I'm talking to, what we're talking about. Sometimes it'll be more than one of us, sometimes it'll be just me. So the issue with interviews is when you're talking they're doing most of the talking. So if the three of us are sitting there and talking, you don't really hear a lot of us. We're just kind of all of agreeing and nodding our heads. So, but it was a really fun interview. I have a couple more set up, so I'm looking forward to those. And I would love to hear some feedback on that. Is this something you guys like? Do you think that it clutters the feed? So if you have any kind of opinions or feedback on it, please let me know. And we'll go from there. Also, if you request somebody like, oh, I really want you to talk to so-and-so or so, whatever, let me know and I'll try to get an interview with them. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, Board Game Geek reviews and videos. So this is episode 26, as Josh mentioned. Josh, what does that mean?
It means
half a year.
Oh, of course! we were talking about this last time. It is half a year. That's crazy.
Yep. So Kitty is 1 month shy of half a year.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
But Josh and I.
Anniversary.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. We'll just celebrate.
I think I'm actually only 3 weeks.
Maybe 3 weeks shy. Yeah. So.
Sure.
Yeah, because episode 0, I don't even know when that dropped in relation to the first episode.
Right.
But
yeah.
In any case, we're still having fun with it.
We are.
And we want to do more of it. And to that end, we're going to be doing a lot more videos. So I'm going to do, on Board Game Geek, I'm going to be a lot more active there. Honestly, I've been more of a kind of a lurker. So you're going to see, if you're following me, or actually nobody's following me, so I know you're not for sure. But you can start to follow me on Board Game Geek. My username is Steele22374. So STEELE 22374. Follow me, because I'm going to be doing a lot of posting of reviews, of feedback on games that I like, things I have opinions on. We already have the podcast up there. We don't get a lot of activity. I think maybe 1 or 2 people have posted on there, but I'm going to try to drive a little bit more towards that as well. And YouTube, we're going to do a lot of video review. Well, I don't really want to make another review site, but unboxings, first impressions, playthroughs, with a side of review. So, and I think that's about it for announcements. Do you guys have anything else? No,
I think that's pretty much it.
You're going to help me with these reviews or videos? This is, I sort of...
Maybe I'll go and create an account. That might help.
That's right.
I think I have an account on Board Game Geek.
Yeah, just friend me. And I'm on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we have a couple subscribers. I think...
I've subscribed. Yeah.
Spencer's cousin subscribed to us.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Claire.
Yeah, we ran into Clara. She was working at the auto show this week.
Oh,
Yeah, doing an internship with their event coordinating planning.
So now she's our second follower.
Yeah.
So the YouTube videos are going to be fun, I promise. So check them out. In fact, on this particular video, because I'm actually doing editing in this episode, and editing by meaning putting a number of files back to back. But you'll get a little bit of behind the scenes as we transition to and from the interview. Weight update. Josh, do you want to do yours first?
Oh God, yeah, I've gone up. That's terrible. I think the problem is I'm 2.4 up from last time. I'm now at 180. But I think the problem is I'm not using the Weight Watchers app because I found it a bit fiddly and we'll get on top of it.
All right.
All good.
All right. Well, I am down 1.4.
Nice.
Putting me at 196.4, 18.6 down overall since the first.
You might lap me at this point.
I think if we do the division here by a few times.
Right. But, I mean like.
Oh, you mean
actual,
catch up to where
like,
you're
in
at?
the actual weight. Yeah, no, you definitely lost a ton more than me. But I mean, yeah. Actually.
Well, actually, your weight would make me happy. Once I hit 180, I'm gonna probably, because I walk every day for like 3.5 miles.
Wow.
So once I hit 180, I'm probably gonna turn that up to just jogging every day because then it won't hurt as much and it'll be faster. So. All right, feedback, reviews. We don't have any iTunes reviews, but I'm not going to berate you guys. We have got so many last week, and we appreciate every single one of them.
Totally.
If you find time, go ahead, go review us. Actually, if you want to review us on Board Game Geek, that might even be better. Although I don't even know if that's possible for podcasts. It might be though. I know you can review games. I don't know if you can review podcasts.
Not much from Facebook this week.
Yep. A few comments here and there. We appreciate them all. We do have one email though for Josh.
Oh yeah, from Mark actually, who says, "My wife and I have enjoyed your podcast. We just started recently. We just recently gotten into tabletop games and are hooked. Your podcast is entertaining and informative. Keep up the great work. Also, we're local in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, which is where we're from and where we're recording. There was an amazing gaming bar that opened and closed in Mount Prospect. It was Tokens and Tankards. It was an 80s themed bar with video games on one side and the other tabletop games, with craft beer and good food. They only lasted about 6 months, but it was awesome. Their website is still up and they're trying to potentially reopen. Do you know of any other bars like this in the suburbs? We've been to Geek Bar, but we're really spoiled with Tankards. We were really spoiled with Tankards near us. Any suggestions, Mark and Donna?
Thanks, Mark. So, fun stories. We're not necessarily in the northwest suburbs, we're on the northwest side of Chicago, but the northwest suburbs aren't too far away. No CTA out to there, but so it seems like an infinite distance for us. I went to Tokens and Tankards the day it closed.
Yeah, no, I was with you. Me, you, and Sydney drove up there, and we were like, yeah, we're gonna go, and it was closed.
Yep, everything was still on, the video games were still on, but there was a sign on the board, closed.
Yeah.
And, like, that was the first day that they were closed. We're like, Geek Bar, I actually funded or like helped invest in Geek Bar, and they have since also gone out of business. So Chicago and the Chicago area is not great at keeping gaming bars.
There is a few in Chicago, but not in the northwest suburbs, unfortunately.
I don't know any really tabletop game ones. I know.
Oh, right.
We have Headquarters.
Headquarters is really fun.
Headquarters, Barcade, but those are like in the city.
And a couple of game stores that you can go and play games at.
Yeah, Dice Dojo, not a bar, but you can bring alcohol in there. They don't shy away from that. They don't also advertise it either, but and as far as like restaurants, I mean, there's a number of bars. Guthrie's is one in the city. In the suburbs, I'm not really sure. So I'm putting a call out. If anyone listening knows of any place around Chicago where you can go eat some food, grab a beer, and play a board game, let us know, because I keep an ear out, but I haven't seen a lot of them.
Right.
I know a few kind of more divey sites where they've got like some mainstream like Yahtzee, Trivial Pursuit kind of games.
Yeah, because you'll see that at a lot of bars where it's just like, okay, and they're not really getting played. They're sitting on the shelves, and maybe somebody goes over and grabs it.
It's always me.
Yeah.
I'm the only one I know who does it.
We mentioned last week, I think, that you and I played Connect 4 or whatever.
Yeah. Over at
Christina's place?
No. What is it? It's a Pokestop where they do trivia. Temple-Stone,
yeah. They have Connect 4. Christina's place has board games, but they're just kind of like sitting next to the karaoke machine. Nobody's ever touched
gathering
them.
dust.
We played Trivial Pursuit there one time, and it was a really fun experience because it was like the 1983 version of Trivial Pursuit. So you had to answer the question like the like current day questions, like in 1983, what was the?
Yeah. Also, you had to have big hair, otherwise the answer didn't count. So
classic.
Yeah. Or a man perm, that worked as well.
Oh, okay.
So early.
A mullet, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the MacGyver haircut?
That's totally a mullet.
It's a mullet.
Well,
yeah.
Is it? Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't understand what Josh was saying because it was so British. It was a mullet.
It's beautiful.
Yes. All right, on to our quick question.
All right, Sam asks, what are your thoughts on game organizers / trays? I'm a huge fan of Arkham Horror, and having all the expansions, I had to make an organized card tray out of one of the big boxes just to cut down on the setup time for all the decks when I got friends together to play. Recently, I bought trays for Star Wars Rebellion just to keep all the minis safe and organized. Just today, I had to order and organize for Scythe because I was sitting down to try out the Automa?
It's the single-player version.
And got frustrated with going through all the baggies of faction pieces and cards and wanted a way to get it on the table quicker. As someone who has so many games, do you find organizers a necessity or a waste of money? Should companies be responsible for including nicer inserts for their games with elaborate setups and not leaving it up to fans to make their own or go to third parties?
So I love this question.
It is a good question.
Yes.
Thanks, Sam.
Yes. Because I have opinions on this. Because I've tried all kinds of things.
Opinions.
So many opinions. Broken Token, I think it's Broken Token, they have kind of wooden inserts. You buy them, they come in flat sheets, you put them together, and they fit inside the box, and they have areas for everything. and they work out great until an expansion comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to get a different version of it to fit the expansion, or you're using a different box for it. Some games will have plastic inserts with places for all the different cards. Those are great too until you're like, what cards go where? Some instruction books show you exactly this is how you should put it away. The Pathfinder Adventure card game, which I've talked about, feels like too much, but that has that concept. But the thing with that is it leaves you enough space so when you have all 6 adventure decks, then it fills up all the slots. Until then, the cards are just flapping around in there. That doesn't feel very secure either, and if you put the box on its side, everything just falls out. So I've gotten to the point where I don't care about the inserts anymore. The first thing I do is I pull out everything, I throw away the insert.
Yep.
And for setup, I don't put things, so I put everything in either sandwich bags, or sometimes I'll get like smaller sized baggies for it. Any game
the
that
same
comes,
sort of Ziploc type
Ziploc
bags,
bags, yeah.
just make
Yeah,
it
like
smaller.
the tiny ones, like you would buy heroin in.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the heroin bags.
Of course,
Exactly.
we all know that.
that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
A lot of games come with them now, and you open it up, and there's like this rubber band of all these extra bags that you can use.
Right.
So I'll pull any extras and put them aside, and then if a game doesn't come with them, I'll pull them out. Otherwise, I'll just go across the street to CVS and buy some snack-size Ziploc bags and some regular-size Ziploc bags. The trick is not to put the cards away by their type. Put them away by how you would actually use them. So a single Ziploc bag for me has everything a player needs to play. So like Scythe, for example, it has all the mechs, all the wooden pieces, all of the little cardboard pieces. Everything is in a single bag for that player. So if I wanted to play the yellow player, I just grab the yellow bag.
And
I want to
just
grab
give them
yeah,
to everyone else.
and everything's inside of there.
It
And it's
does sound.
cheaper.
I don't know if this is true of this single player version for Scythe. It sounds like you need some of the pieces from all the bags, maybe?
There's at least one other. I have not played it, but if you did, that's okay because you can still just pull out each one and you just have each bag that you're pulling the pieces from. It does have a deck of cards. Now, deck of cards I work a little differently. I either will put them in snack size bags, which are the half size sandwich bags, and that'll usually fit the cards no problem. Or you get, I think they're maybe like 3 inches wide by 4 inches tall, which fit like a stack of 100 cards pretty snugly. They don't, what? The snuggly's not that.
Snuggly.
Snuggly. They don't flip around in the box though, and you can just put everything in the box, and then you just have all these baggies. When we opened up Gloomhaven, part of the fun was punching out all the cardboard pieces, which were 17.
There are 17 sheets. like
Wow.
like board game
size
sheets. Like yeah.
Yeah, each one the size of a huge game.
Yeah.
But I punched them all out, broke them up into pieces. I took all the monster cards and put all the monster cutouts with their cards in little individual sandwich bags. So I had like 18 different sandwich bags of monsters and their cards. But now I don't have to go through the monster deck because that's in the insert. It had like, here's where you put 100 monster cards.
Well, I really liked the way that Gloomhaven did their heroes.
Yep.
Like each of their heroes has a little box that
It opens
opens up and it has their character cards, their player mat, like
all the pieces they need.
And then there's a separate box with a matching symbol that has their mini in it.
Yep.
Cool.
So I just take that a
That
step
worked
further
really well.
because the characters all had this. I did that for all the monsters. I gave them each their own separate bag. Anything that was terrain that you'd put on the map had into its own separate thing. Now I didn't like split it up with here's the tables and here's the chairs. I just put okay, this is something that gets added on top. They all go into one bag. So if I'm looking for that, I know where to look.
So every scenario you're setting up, you have to go through that bag, but you don't have to go through 18 bags.
Yep. I don't use rubber bands because rubber bands will actually start to almost dissolve cards. Like the rubber band will dissolve itself, and the acid will also dissolve. Like it'll damage the card.
Also, the pressure I think just messes with the size even before the rubber band starts to go bad.
Yep. I find that just bagging everything works out great, and then you can put all kinds of expansions in there too. So that is my solution. I've looked at a lot of different organizers, and if anyone has other solutions that they use, please let me know. Like I said, this works for me. For Codex, which we'll be talking about in a little bit, I actually got a 3-ring binder with 9 pocket things for all the cards, and each hero has its own like full sheet. So I can pull out a sheet and say, okay, this hero, and here's all his cards. So, and then that entire game is in one binder. I got a nice one that has a zipper and a handle, and I have 2 sets. And then I took the print and play version of it I did, and I put those in the actual binders that come in the deluxe box. So in that case, I don't use the box at all anymore because I have everything right. I also sometimes, for games I play a lot, I'll replace the pieces. So if they have like cardboard pieces that I don't really like, or counters or something, I have like a whole stack of miscellaneous like plastic generic pieces that I might stick in there. So
my craft room is like the graveyard of your old game organizers too. Any plastic boxes that you have used in the past, so I just tend to end up with my craft supplies.
Yeah, because I do that all the time. Is I'll go to the Container Store. Actually, Michael's is way better to go to the Container Store. Michael's has super cheap storage, and
Joann's too.
And Joann's, like so go to a craft store and you can buy these plastic boxes really cheaply. So. Like I say, Sam, this was a great question because obviously I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
Okay, switching up to games, new games. I did pick up Gloom, so we can play it. This is the one with the transparent cards by Keith Baker. I picked up Ultra Tiny Epic Kingdoms, which is basically just Tiny Epic Kingdoms, but in a card box. So the entire game is the size of a deck of cards.
Wow.
So I just thought it was awesome, so I grabbed it. We already mentioned that we got Gloomhaven and the failed unboxing, and Dungeon Alliance. So Dungeon Alliance is the game I was talking to Andrew Parks about. If you haven't listened to it, you should. If you haven't taken a look at it, you should. It looks like it's going to be a really cool game. It's a dungeon crawl. It has a lot of like nostalgic old D&D feel to it. Let's go to the game of the day.
All right, we're back on Pandemic Legacy. Football season is now officially over, so Spencer has rejoined us. It was difficult to get him down here for the playoffs, but yeah.
2 games in July. We lost the first one pretty miserably.
Yeah.
But we came back with the second one and won.
I would say one of our best wins.
Yeah, very emphatically.
Yeah, although Kitty did die.
Oh yeah.
So
honestly.
It turned out to be a good thing.
For that game only, though, I think long term it could really mess with us. I was playing an unlockable character, though, so we won't talk too much about it.
But had an ability we liked.
Needed. Had an ability we needed.
Well, we'll see. Maybe we can get around it.
Yeah, I think we have a solution to move forward in that way. But, man, I am just like... I don't need sleep. Let's keep playing this game. I'm really into it right now.
Really good, yeah.
Well, so Gloomhaven, it relates, I promise. Kitty's, I'm going to let you give the quote. So we were on the unboxing, and this was something that she said during our non-recording session, which I think really describes Gloomhaven quite a bit, which was...
It's like Pandemic Legacy in D&D had a beautiful baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I
so
like that.
Gloomhaven is a legacy-style, free-form campaign game with fantasy characters that run around the world in a non-linear fashion. So you don't. It's not like this quest, this quest, this quest. It's you get to decide what quest you're going on, and they unlock as you do things. And there's stickers and envelopes that still get opened up.
And you're playing a character. I mean, when you described everything to me, it sounded like a computer game RPG in a box.
Or you could just call it a tabletop RPG.
It is.
Right,
You have a character sheet, you have a party sheet that you're filling out, you have, there's 5 open characters that you start with, but there are 17 different characters in there, and the rest are sealed with stickers.
That you unlock.
So, I don't know, we haven't played a single time yet, so I'm not sure that I can really qualify it as a beautiful baby, but it definitely looks like a child.
It's not an ugly baby.
It definitely looks like a child of Pandemic or Pandemic Legacy. It's a legacy style game in a D&D style.
Yep.
Where there's stickers and shields and openable things, but it looks like a very familiar, like the hex maps and the character style. I mean, we didn't get too far into the cards and stuff. Standing monsters, rooms with stuff discoverable things.
Yeah.
But the box is kind of the dungeon master in that case.
Right. Yeah, because I was going to say that was maybe where it departs from being like an RPG, and the fact that I don't know. I mean, you guys will know a bit more than me whether it's going to play in that same like someone has control, like a DM.
So it's not one versus many. The scenario book has the stories, and so you read a certain section of the story before the scenario.
Yeah.
At certain points inside the scenarios, there are trigger points where you continue and read another section of the story.
Right.
And when you finish a scenario, you read that section of the story, and it tells you things that it unlocks depending on what you did. You will unlock other different scenarios.
Yeah.
There's lots of kind of choose your own adventure type things. There are these encounter cards that you have that are like choose A or B, and then you flip it over and it gives you the consequences of that. So it feels like the box is really taking the control, that there's no player control of the scenario. It's just you're against
it's less
it.
flexible in that way.
It's a cooperative game with hidden agendas. So your character isn't necessarily out to screw other characters, but their goals are different, and you don't necessarily, not everybody at the table knows what those goals are. And once the characters met their goal, they retire, and then you join another character. So I accidentally took this into a Gloomhaven, oh my god, Happy Fest.
I know. I was going to say, we're going to have to do our own thing.
First we have to finish Pandemic Legacy, though. I want to know what happens.
Yes, once we finish Pandemic Legacy, there may be more things on Gloomhaven in the works. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we need to get to the interview, because I was hoping this would be a short, odd topic, because the interview, I'll warn you now, is about 50 minutes long, and we're at 27 minutes now. I want to give you a quick introduction to Codex, just in case you haven't listened to a previous episode about it or you don't know anything about it. In the interview, we talked about Codex as if you knew what you were talking about. So, Codex is a non-collectible dueling card game with some deck building to it. So there are 6 colors in the game, red, green, blue, white, purple, black. There's also a neutral faction. Each color has 3 heroes you can choose from. The neutral factions has 2. Most of the time out of the box, you're going to start out playing mono colors, but you pick 3 heroes and you get all of their cards that go into a Codex, which is basically just a binder. Those 3 heroes stick on your board, and you're always able to summon them unless they're tired from being just recently killed. They have spells that they can cast if they're in play. They have there are tech cards that you can play, which are just units that play because you have tech buildings. And you have tech 1, 2, and 3 buildings. Depending on the level of those buildings, you can play different cards. You do not need the hero in play to play those tech buildings. There's a different way of essentially going it. The tech is usually units, but it can be other buildings and upgrades and such. You're trying to kill your opponent, and by attacking their base, and their base has 20 hit life. There is 1-on-1, there's 2-on-2, there's free-for-all that plays 3 to 5. If you had multiple copies, you could probably even go bigger than that. I don't know that you'd want to, because it could take a little bit of time.
It's recommended.
But you could. And our interview with David Serlin talks all about different designs and strategies, and you can take a listen to that now. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I've just stopped the audio.
Oh my
god.
god.
Oh no. So what we're going to do is restart the audio, say something along the lines of, that was a great interview, or that was really fun, or whatever this is you guys want to say. And then we will go into the end of the show and do the outro. You guys ready?
Ready?
All right. So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
It's like we just talked to him last week. I mean, 2 minutes ago.
But it was an awesome interview. Like, and it really gave me an insight to like how these things are put together. To think that it was 10 years in the making, and to hear all the like kind of agonizing back and forth about certain things, like really made me understand how good this game is. Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of thought that went into it, obviously, and it was cool to hear his, because you can also hear the passion behind it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I definitely wanted to get the question is, are there going to be expansions? So to see, everyone should play this game, make it super, super popular so that he wants to make expansions. So that's my quest. Thank you. This is a really long show already, so we're going to end it now, and I'm going to let Josh take it from here.
Indeed. Well, thanks for listening, and remember, we love your feedback. So consider leaving us an iTunes review or email us with your comments and questions at tabletopgametalk@gmail.com. You can also reach us on Facebook @Tabletop Game Talk Podcast, or on Twitter @Tabletop Game Talk. Oh no, Tabletop Game TLK. You can also reach us directly at Game Master Chris, @JoshIsBlonde, and @KittenL. And if you like what you hear, please help us spread the word by liking or sharing our posts. Finally, a huge thank you to our patrons, Emil Jim Jam, Trevor Olsen, and Rudy Lou. And if you'd like to support us via Patreon, you can find out more at tabletopgametalk.com/Patreon. All patrons are auto-entered into all of our contests with bonus entries, so check it out. Until next week, when we talk about solo games, keep playing games, and having fun.
And Emil, we do know how to say our last name. Just Josh does it. Thank you and good night. And we're clear.
Whoops.
Bye.
Bye, YouTube.
This will eventually work.